This movie is about answering some questions that our clients regularly ask about the use of pine in the building of decks. Now, because we're in the game, we see and hear way too often about pine being used where it very clearly should not be used, and it's only because most people are not aware of its limitations. I overhear the people in our office being asked about pine 3 times a day. Now, quite obviously, we're usually talking about building decks, and it's tricky to answer the question in just one sentence. Now, I spent a few hours trolling the internet to try and find the definitive answer, and it wasn't easy. Now, quite obviously, the more you look at pine, the more you see the word treated being used. The precursor at the top of this treated pine table says, however, treatments do not provide protection against the effects of weathering. All timber used in outdoor environments should be protected with the application and maintenance of a suitable coating system. Now, what it should read is this: treated pine must be very carefully primed, painted, maintained and kept dry and away from direct sunlight. While most good quality Southeast Queensland hardwood will last 25 years minimum with no paint at all in full Southeast Queensland weather. What we have so far is this: treatment does not provide protection from weathering, and treatment is primarily aimed at the white ant problem. White ants are a problem only because of more recent and very poor building practices, no other reason. When the houses in Queensland were built on stumps with a tin stump cap, there wasn't a problem. The weathering they're talking about is a very real problem, and when it rains in Southeast Queensland, it hoses down for months, and the only way you can beat it is to use very durable building products. To get some perspective into it, have a look at this table in regard to timber treatment of pine. Quite obviously, H1 and all the way down to H3 is next to useless if you're thinking of building a heavy-duty all-weather deck. The problem here is that when you go to the big hardware stores, that's about all they sell. When you actually see where people are really using their pine, it's not good. Putting pine down on gravel, grass, concrete and so on, as I see people doing daily, is only subjecting the pine to severe wetting and moisture. So from what I can see, that knocks out T2 blue, T2 red and T3 green. If T3 is what we're led to believe is the better one, it's still only treated to H3 level and is intended to be used in periodic wetting. When it rains for months on end in Southeast Queensland, that is not periodic wetting. That is what I call soaked. So that only leaves us with H4, H5 and H6 as the better pine options. Now, be mindful that there are health risks associated with the use of copper, chrome, arsenate, which is likely to be used in the higher hazard levels of timber treatment. I do not think that the average person can buy H4 framing at the hardware stores. Your option is to buy the raw untreated pine and then send it away to be H4, H5 or H6 treated. Now, the hardware stores may have sleepers and poles treated to H4, and that's about it. In pine trees, the area shaded in purple is all sapwood, whereas the area circled in red is the heartwood, or sometimes called the true wood. Now, the heartwood in sawn pine framing is virtually untreatable. Here's a pack of sawn pine where you can see the light areas are the heartwood. The heartwood does not accept treatment. Not much of this pack of pine is actually effectively treated. So before you even start the project, you've got some major durability problems already. Now, if you put that thought to one side, let's compare pine to our blackbutt, for example. Now, there's some points here that you should take note of. All of them are exactly what you should be considering when you're building outdoor structures. Our Southeast Queensland blackbutt is strength group high, while the pine is strength group reasonably low. Our Southeast Queensland Blackbutt runs up as high as F34, while the pine can only make F14 at best. Density is a no-brainer. Blackbutt is heavy, while pine is very light. Now, density has a lot to do with durability. The pine has a lot more air pockets in the cell structure, hence it can take in moisture very easily and waterlog. And it all adds up to durability. Blackbutt is high, while pine is, as you would expect, low. Bushfire attack levels, or BAL as it's known, is a measure of a building's potential exposure to bushfire in terms of embers, radiant heat and direct flame. Now, while Blackbutt is one of the best, pine doesn't even make the list. Now, apparently they have developed yet another timber treatment for pine that will give it a Bell rating. Now, at the end of the day, our Blackbutt is naturally very durable and very strong with no treatment required. There's a lot of companies producing and selling treated pine. Now, when you look around on the internet, you can see that H3 treated pine is a timber which has been impregnated with a chemical solution containing two key components, fungicide and insecticide, providing protection against borers, termite attack, and more importantly, only moderate fungal decay throughout Australia. Now, anywhere where treated pine is cut, notched, rebaited or drilled, the unprotected area must be resealed with a suitable timber preservative to ensure that the treatment envelope remains intact. Now, until I started reading the fine print, I did not realise that the unprotected area, for example, where you cut into the timber, that this area has to be retreated again. Now, I thought that treated pine was in fact treated pine. If you dig even further into the treated pine framing, you will see on the brochure that you will need to coat all surfaces with a paint or stain finish to better protect it from the weather. Then when you go into the technical specs, they will update that again to read you will need to prime and paint all surfaces. You will also need to cover the deck, joist and bearers with a water-resistant malthoid strip, and you will need to watch out for water and manage the moisture correctly. Now, ventilation is essential in the fight against fungal attack in treated pine. Using treated pine up against brickwork, on concrete, on gravel or over grass anywhere within 400 mil of the ground is not adequate ventilation. Keep wading through the technical sheets and you will see that treated pine needs to be kept wrapped in plastic. When treated pine is removed from the wrap, it is no longer protected. Now, although all treated pine should be primed and painted, the solvents used in the treatment process of treated pine can hamper the paint priming process. Now, the solvents need to evaporate for at least 7 days before priming. You need to make good any damage to paint protection, and treated pine exposed to direct sunlight should be capped and or faced. And apparently no warranty or insurance can be given that the recommendations will suit every situation. I've been on building sites all of my life and I've never seen anyone ever using treated pine as per the instructions being put out there by the manufacturers of the treated pine. If you applied the fine print to cardboard, it would probably last 10 years in the weather also. But do you really want to build a deck out of cardboard? Now, when you look at most of the high-use building products, hardwood, steel, roofing iron, bricks, concrete, tiles, electrical fittings, plumbing fittings, I don't think any of them come with the amount of fine print that comes with treated pine. Now, white ants are a problem, but we do not hear or see much about it. We only see and hear about rotten treated pine framing being used outdoors. And what we're seeing weekly concurs with the opening statement that all treated pine manufacturers put out there, and that is the treatment on treated pine does not provide protection against weathering. At the end of the day, pine is not at all naturally durable. It's a lot easier to build your deck subframe in locally produced a naturally durable hardwood, and to even go one step better again and use our super wide heavy duty floor joists and bearers that we mill here in our own sawmill. In closing, how did I come to my conclusion? Well, the devil is in the fine print, and it would appear that very few people go searching for it. Our Blackbutt is very clearly far stronger and naturally more durable than treated pine, meaning that it can last a very long time with minimal preparation and maintenance. As our hardwood ages, it becomes stronger. As pine ages, the treatment leaches, it takes on moisture and it deteriorates. On the Queensland Government website, it confirms H3 is only suitable for periodic wetting. Now, if the treated pine structure was built 400mm clear of the ground, had very good ventilation, was primed and painted properly, and every cut, notch, rebate or hole drilled was properly retreated with copper naphthenate, then maybe H3 treated pine is good for 10 to 15 years. Whereas H4 and better still H5 appears to have a better chance of withstanding the damp conditions that I believe we have here in southeast Queensland on the coast. More importantly, I believe that the deck you're about to build is a critical end-use structure, and that assurance alone is what I'm looking for in a building material. Because if hardwood, bricks, steel, roofing iron and concrete can last indefinitely, I would have hoped that the treated H3 pine would have offered a similar lifespan and durability in full weather, but it very clearly doesn't.